Again, I say welcome to the show, and I remain your host, Kike. That doesn't change at all. Anyway, so first thing first, if you are joining us for the first time, I say welcome. Please catch up by following us on our Instagram at Real Talk with Kike, and subscribe to our YouTube page, Real Talk with Kike. For our Omoluabi session, opening message for the show is Abo. This means security or protection, a word that reflects safety and preservation of human lives. And Omoluabi is keen to provide and receive security for and from his fellow men. On today's edition, we will be looking at an issue of critical urgency. It is rather unfortunate that innocent Nigerians who are meant to be protected by the police are actually being gunned down by the police on rampant and worrisome basis. So to discuss this topic with me is Segun Awosanya. He's a Nigerian human rights activist popularly known for his campaign against police brutality on social media as #EndSARS. He was drafted as a member of the presidential panel to overhaul the department, which is now known as FSARS. Okay, all right. His contact was added to the list of appropriate channels to now report issues of police brutality in Nigeria. Welcome, SEGALINK. It's great to have you on the set today with me. Thank you so much for creating time to be on the show today on Real Talk with Kike.
Thank you very much, Kike, for having me on your wonderful show. It's a pleasure coming here, and I believe that I'm going to learn a lot from you.
Oh, I wish. How have you been staying safe? How have you been keeping safe thus far?
Well, we've been there. I don't think that I've gotten a holiday since we started the campaign.
Okay.
Because the campaign is a multifaceted campaign that actually benefits the police as well as benefiting the people, because the police are the public and the police are the people.
Interesting. I like that. So let's just go straight to the business of the day. You know, in 2017, when the presidency called for overhauling of the department, where did the police force get it wrong after the overhaul in late 2017 by the IGP? We were supposed to be having a more effective and more professional segment of the police force. What has gone wrong thus far till date?
Well, I must say that in one of the first things we need to look at that got to clear is actually prejudice and perception. You see, perception is that which makes you use one brush to paint over everybody. You know, when you say all police are rogues, when you say all young people are Yahoo boys. So on both ends, it began to create a gap that breeds distrust. And as they say, prejudice is an emotional commitment to ignorance. So we have decided to bridge that gap, stand in the middle, let the people understand what the police is going through, and then let the police see how the people are responding to their reaction to what they are going through. The police themselves are victims in this system. Unfortunately, they don't have a voice. They cannot complain. They cannot defend themselves. They cannot, fight the imbroglio that they are facing. All they can do is use their pent-up anger to carry out whatever it is they can do, despite the fact that there are scarce resources and all. They are all human beings. The only issue that we find that is the missing link is the supervision and leadership. We have experimented this over the years, where we have proper leaders within the formation, despite the fact that they are going through things, they put protocols in place and their officers were working fine. I must tell you that majority of the crimes that we have outlined or we have earmarked over the years in terms of killings, because according to Cable Index, 92 Nigerians have been killed since March 2019 and February 2020.
Oh my God.
92 people. And most of these killings were done by other formations. It's either IRC, it's either anti-kidnapping or anti-cultism, or this. But in Nigeria, anybody who is not wearing uniform is SARS. So which is why we said the campaign itself, if I break it down, end SARS simply stands for end impunity. While reform police NG means after you have shut down the impunity, reform the entire Nigerian police. And the view of that research was this: how we planned it was to first put in a stopgap. And what was that stopgap? The stopgap was the protocol we put in place that prevents them from operating as they used to operate. In other words, if you call some people special anti-cultism, special anti-kidnapping, special tactical squad, a special thing is not common. It can be seen all over the place. Because when you put a man of war on a peaceful street, they will make war. So that's why we decided to say, let them stay indoors until they are called to come and curb any crime that is related to the reason behind their formation.
All right, Segun, listening to you, I cannot help to say that really there's a big problem in our country today, and I'm glad that you actually refreshed our memory by sharing the information that over 92 people have passed on since, for almost a year now, within a year from February 2019. Yeah. So a few months back in the COVID-19 lockdown period, we had a policeman killing a young teenage girl in Oworo area of Lagos State, amongst many other cases. And again, back to what happened on Saturday, just a few days back, a policeman just killed a 19-year-old Jonah Samanja in Abuja, according to Sars reporters. So my question is, police brutality is a problem for the entire police force. Are we not underestimating the entire police force, or are we not, underestimating the whole issue by pointing out accusing fingers at SARS alone?
It's not about accusing fingers. Like I said, the campaign is directed at impunity.
Yes.
You see, every human being is a contradiction. You are either good or you are bad.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Yes.
You cannot be absolutely bad. You cannot be absolutely good. But whichever one you are is a function of your influence.
True.
So because of this, the structure of the Nigerian police itself is not dealing with a few bad eggs. It's dealing with the culture of impunity, which is peer-induced and peer-reinforced. If you have 10 people in a police station and 8 of them are terrible people, terrible people in the sense that they are used to arresting Okada, oppressing people for money, and the rest. You see those 2 guys that are there, that are good, that want to serve their country, they will not be able to afford to be good. They can't afford to be good. If not, they will be sent out of that police station, or drafted out, or planned for, or something. They have to close their eyes and go with the crowd and do what other people are doing in the name of camaraderie, in the name of police is a cult. We are one of the members of the cult, so let us do what we need to do. So this is exactly what we're facing. Even those innocent people, their souls are crying, their hearts are crying that we are doing our best and these people are doing this thing. Unfortunately for them, it is these people committing crime that will get promoted first. Yes. They are the connected ones. They are the ones bringing in the money for those who are collecting bribe underneath. You understand? They are the ones that will get the promotion. These good ones will never be promoted from where they are. Their salaries will continue to be removed, and they will not be able to complain and ask why. And this is why we need to do the needful, to overhaul the police system itself.
All right.
And while we're doing that, we need to stem the activities of the tactical squad and let them operate based on the available law. There is a new police act now, which forbids police officers from acting the way the current tactical squads have been constituted. Which is why we're saying, let us end the entire program. You see, this program is a 28-year-old ad hoc program. In other words, the program that was created based on necessity at the time. But we cannot say because it was created because of armed robbery then, we will now use the dysfunctionality of today to as a priority over a 90-year-old institution. Nobody is stuck in primary school today because they like their headmistress. Nobody is stuck in secondary school today because they are the head boy of their school and they want to remain head boy and not go to university. We must move forward. I am not saying fire these people and let them be out of their job. I am saying subject them to mental evaluation, subject them to psychosocial support, give them psychosocial support. give them psychological evaluation, so that everybody who is holding a gun
orientation
country and wearing uniform are deemed fit, are deemed lawful, are deemed to be the best that we have, that we represent the Nigerian police before the Nigerian people. Not thugs, not armed robbers, not ex-convicts, and not people who are just seeking how to fend for themselves.
All right.
Money is not the problem of the police. It is about self-actualization.
Right.
If they see a vision that is bigger than them, they will act well, and which is why we need to rejig what we have on ground.
All right, thank you for that submission, Segun. You know, Segun, some quarter says that it's a problem of professionalism at its as at the present what will I call it in most every sectors of Nigeria, and transcending beyond the security operatives. And listening to you, you know, I can't help but add that to it, because I feel that there are times that I believe that professionalism is part of our problem. Is that a fair overview of the situation at hand?
It may be a fair overview, because all the uniformed men or institutions in Nigeria believe that they are created to oppress other people. And I would say that because the legislation that actually put them in place, you know, the reason why we have to start from legislation, because the Police Act itself, in this regard, you know, was designed by the colonialists, and police was formed to actually protect the colonialists from the people. So they are not actually doing wrong as at that time, beating up civilians, while majority of the police officers are following VIP. Do you understand?
Yes.
So now the law has actually opened them up to operate with accountability and transparency, uphold human rights laws, and also collaborate with society in order to win trust. Those are the fundamentals of the new bill. And if you look at every other institution, you will see the same abuses. You know, the same way road safety we want to be we want to be high-handed. It's the same way the anti-LDLEA we want to be high-handed. It's the same way ICPC, EFCC will break into your bedroom and claim that you don't have receipt for your bed sheet. You know, so these are the issues. But if we start from the closest authority to us, you see, which is responsible for our civilization. Go to every civilization in the world has two pillars holding them. The number one pillar is law and order, and the second one is taxation. No one pays tax when they are not when they don't feel safe in this environment, in society. They will begin to want to take laws into their hands. So which is why police, who has the right to uphold or to enforce the law, must know the law. You can't break the law to enforce the law.
All right.
That's why we're saying we need to have the best of us, you know, in the police structure, and not thugs and criminals.
All right. Talking about having the best of us in the police structure, or talking about having the best of us in the decision-making offices, I know that the presidential aide laureate Onoche, I hope I pronounced that name well, says the protest and outcry is a coordinated attack by cyber criminals and unexpecting Nigerians to stall the fight against cyber atrocities and other forms of violent crimes. Could there be some insight from a statement? You think this statement was right at the time?
Well, the only thing I would say is to, as always, extend my commiseration to our families and our friends, our children, because somebody who is known and notorious to be a tombow guzzling machine, somebody who expresses the evidence that village witches can actually succeed at controlling our destinies from far away, using Duracell batteries as against Tiger batteries. You know, those are if you look at those statements, it's not a statement of a sane person. You know, we're dealing with rational individuals, people who are cogitatively sane, people who have no coordinated attacks on their intelligence and their mental faculties. So this is not a criteria. Those kind of statements must be jettisoned, because these are rugrats, you know, spelunking within the corridors of power, you know, for their own personal gains. They don't care who dies or who lives. Their children, their families probably don't live in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
So anything they can do to establish their notoriety within the conundrum and show their loyalty to whosoever they are worshipping at the corridor of power, they will say. So these statements are not anything close to reality.
It
is basically something that belongs to their Orwellian nightmare, whatever it is. So let us consider people who are sane, who are clinically all right, and then who say matter in the society of credible people.
All right, thank you, SEGALINK. So we have a message from Ayobami Okonlawon. He said, "Good evening, Real Talk with Kike. Happy first anniversary and happy birthday, Nana. Thank you so much for the grand prize. It's great to have the much respected SEGALINK on the program today. On the police and SARS brutality issue, this is not the first time the police force has promised to reform the system. How do we force them to ensure that they end SARS first and truly reform the police force?" That's from Ayobami Okonlawon.
Yeah, thank you, Ayobami. I know that I'm aware. I've been around for quite a while, at least within the criminal justice system. This is like my 12th year or so as Homeland Security. And I must tell you that I remember that in 2015, they promised that they are going to be reformed. In 2017, they said reform. In 2018, they said they want to be overhauled. In 2019, they said they want to reform. In 2020, they are saying reform again. We are tired of dancing around the church.
So glad to know you guys are still right there with us. If you are tuning in for the first time, this is Real Talk with Kike, and we are with Segun Awosanya, an institutional reforms advocate, and we will, on this second segment, be focusing on the legal angle and the rights of the citizen in this present scenario that we are actually having challenges on, especially when it comes to SARS. And again, I say thank you for hanging on to the line, Segun Awosanya. Absolutely a pleasure having you on set today. Thank you so much for creating time out to be with us today. Again, before then, I think it's important for me to just open our phone lines again and ask people to please join us on 0700 923 923 923. Again, you can send us a message on 0817 313 6193. Let's hear your own perspective on the issue at hand. And you can, of course, send us questions and ask our guests your questions and hit us with all your queries, your comments, all your own experience thus far in terms of all the challenges that we've been facing regarding what is happening presently and trending presently. So, Segun, according to the rights group, they have documented 82 cases between January 2017 and May 2020, discovering that they allegedly target men between ages of 17 and 30. So my question is, what's happening with these numbers? Is it getting worse, or the numbers are drastically falling? And why are male the vulnerable targets in this scenario? Especially listening to you as well, which you've also added that in the last 1 year or so, we've had 92 people who have been killed. What do you think is the issue at hand, and how can we curb what is going on right now?
Thank you. Like I said, when authority people or figures speak, they speak based on their perspective and their will to actually preserve themselves in office. They say weak men don't lead. Weak men pander. You understand? Strong men confront whatsoever. Even if I'm at fault at something, I'm going to admit it. To say, look, this is my problem, this is the issue, this is where we got it wrong, and this is what we're doing correctly. The issue we have in Nigeria, if you're going to look at it culturally from afar, on the general scale, is like a country who is rigged against itself. Any country who is fortunate enough to have 70% of 200 million people being youth.
Segun, is it possible you hold your thought for a few seconds, please? Sugar, we lost the LA.
Well, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Adidi. I'm calling from Lagos Island.
What's your contribution today?
I don't want SARS to be banned, though.
Okay, why is that?
Just that I want them to be reformed.
Okay.
Because if they should be banned, there will be a lot of crime in the country.
Okay.
They should be reformed.
All right.
And now, contribution.
Thank you for your contribution. Yes, Segun.
Yeah, if you let me correct the impression before I will go back to my thoughts. Let me correct that impression. So for everybody who is saying, I don't want SARS to be shut down, to end, we want them to be reformed. The word reform itself has been abused in this country.
Absolutely.
We have seen how many years that we've been promising. So if we use the word reform again, in terms of SARS, in terms of the culture of impunity, we are fooling ourselves. We are telling ourselves that in the next 5 years we want more people to die. That's what we are saying.
All right.
Because the SARS population, the population of the people in tactical squads, they are not up to.
Hello, Segun, please hold your thought again. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Fred.
What's your contribution today?
Okay. Actually, the issue of the reform, like your host has said, that word reform has really been bastardized in Nigeria.
Yes.
Everything that is being reformed gets worse. So that has been, and the major problem is that our uniform personnel take too much powers and laws into their hands. And that is the major issue here. They forgot to understand that their primary purpose is to serve the public. So they take it as an opportunity to lord over people, to take from people what they don't have. Even in Lagos, this issue of LASMA even worse than SARS. If LASMA were to be given guns, they will kill more than SARS are killing. Exactly. With the way they operate. So I think it is very important that the legislation that brings these agencies into existence should be critically and properly looked into.
All right, thank you so much for your submission. Segun.
Yeah, so it was spot on. That's exactly our angle with today. That's why we started with legislation, and we will continue to change things as we move along. Like I said, going by the legislation, going by the law that the president just signed, the SARS cannot remain. The tactical squads cannot remain as constituted. They need to be totally taken apart and refixed. And I'll give you an example for those who don't still understand.
Okay.
Let's remove our sentiments and get this. If you have a factory that has assembly lines of machines that is put together to produce candle, and over the years, people stop buying candles because there's rechargeable lamp, and the company is losing money and they are firing staff. And they said, oh, what do we do? The company is losing money. How can we change? How can we make sure that we are profitable again? And then somebody says, fire the head, fire the workers, and hire the new people. Is anything going to change?
Of course not.
Nothing. Until you begin to take apart the component part of the equipment that are in the factory and replace it with the component part of the equipment of what you hope to produce that people want. That's what is going to heal that system.
All right.
So there's no sentiment of don't fire Baba Taju, don't fire Mr. So and so. It's not about that. It's about the profitability of the firm and the employability of.
All right. Thank you, Segun Awosanya. SEGALINK. The submission given thus far evidence that your capacity and the vast effort that you have put into ending police brutality in the nation is commendable. Thank you so much for all you've done thus far. More power to your elbow as you fight against police brutality and make Nigeria a confident place to live in, because it's important for me to add that to you. Thank you so much, Segun, for joining me today. So our closing remark, courtesy Omoluabi personality from Goldberg, is Eniyan Shalasho Eniyan. This means people around me that have supported me are of my oath of honor. It has been an awesome journey thus far. The fact that we are here today is a confident sign that we are going places and we are bound to break boundaries never seen before. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. Till I come your way next week, this is where I draw the curtains of the show. I say, my name remains Kike Lomatondawo, and bye now.